come across OnePlanet and spoken with some of your colleagues, something quite a long time ago now. So yeah, just really keen to sort of understand what you've been up to, particularly in the context of we're working with University of Edinburgh on a new programme that's being set up called the Scottish Climate Intelligence Service, which is focusing in on area-based emissions and local authority capacity around that. So, but also just interested more generally in what you're doing. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks, Judy. And Sheena?
Hello.
Well, I think we've met before.
Yeah, we've met before. You gave us a demo. So I'm Sheena Maxwell from Dumfries and Galloway Council, and I'm a business management support officer in the climate team. And I'm just along here today just to gather more information. I work part of a team. There's a project officer, and we've got a climate assistant. So I'm just here to pick up anything new that I haven't heard before.
Brilliant, thank you, Jade.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so I'm Jade Taylor, and I am the Climate and Special Projects Officer for Petersfield Town Council. I had a meeting with a lady from South Downs National Park yesterday, and she mentioned that this was taking place today. So yeah, just interested to see what it's going to be about, and yeah, gain some more information.
Oh, great, thanks, Jade. And yeah, we can. This focused on climate, but we do work. We are working with South Downs National Park on similar approach, linking up nature recovery strategies. Abby, to really attest to see whether people are there. Oh, no problem. Maybe just write sort of where you're from. That'd be great. And Elena, you just joined, but if you're able to just introduce yourself, that would be really helpful. But
yes, hi. Sorry, it took me a while to join in. Hi, I work for Edinburgh Council and I work in procurement. There is quite a lot going on collaboration, I think, local climate action, etc. So yeah, just really looking to see what actions others are taking and opportunities to collaborate potentially. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Yes, I'm slightly nervous, Elena, you've arrived because we've mapped out the Edinburgh climate strategy, and that's the one I was going to show. So having someone who knows about it might, but yeah, no, it'll be a good test. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to start with oh, we've got Fiona. Fiona, we're just about to start. Do you mind just introducing yourself?
Sure. Fiona Elder, I'm Highland Council. I work in systems support for the development management side of things, so just looking to see where our system can help record biodiversity net gain, I suppose, and what we're looking out for.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to give an introduction to OnePlanet and the work we've been doing around mapping out UK climate action, but I will try and touch on local nature recovery work and also linking with the community, as those are things that people have brought up here. But yes, sort of, and fire away as we go through. So yeah, I will pause to sort of specifically ask if people have questions, but please just jump in, raise if you do have a question. And Mark, I'm going to leave you to let people in. Thank you. So OnePlanet's built on, so we're a software company, but we've grown out of a social entrepreneurial organisation in South London called Bioregional. So we were kind of incubated in the social entrepreneurial organisation that then spun us out. Bioregional developed the UK's first designed to be net zero development in South London called BedZ, which is the image in the top right. So that was completed about 20 years ago. And off the back of that, we developed the OnePlanet Living framework, which is 10 very simple sustainability principles that were then used on development projects all over the world as a kind of consultancy work. They helped inspire the London 2012 sustainability vision and also inspire the Sustainable Development Goals. So one of the founders of Bioregional held the first side event with the government Colombia on replacing the Millennium Development Goals with what became the Sustainable Development Goals. So just to kind of summarize, we are a software company, but our goal has always been about sort of, driving sustainability. And what we've learned on that journey is that addressing and understanding sustainability is about understanding and managing interconnections. So we've been continuing to develop communities, so using this little diagram, the communities where driving is necessary to get around. Most of those cars are fossil fuel powered, which has a direct impact on air quality and affects our health. We know that the carbon emissions drive climate change, and we're seeing that that's affecting people's health in terms of heat stress, impacts of flooding, increased cost of food, etc. Yeah, a little bit more hidden. The plastics are a byproduct of the fossil fuel industry, and we can either burn those plastics, and that has an impact on our health, or ultimately, however many times we will recycle them, they will end up in the sea, where they're being consumed by fish. And if we eat those fish, that's having an impact on our health as well. So we can see just from this example how all of these climate and environmental issues are having an impact on our health, and that also, there's a penguin on the other side of the planet. There's a bat in a forest in Scotland that's being impacted by plastic pollution, air quality, and climate change as well. So what we've taken from this is we speak to lots of council officers who are tasked with addressing a single issue, and they're sort of tearing their hair out trying to deal with the climate emergency or the cost of living crisis, housing, obesity. And what OnePlanet is aimed at doing is looking at developing a set of shared outcomes that we can then use to identify what actions are going to meet all of those outcomes together, as opposed to try and address one of them, each of these issues one at a time, and often find we're exacerbating other issues. How does OnePlanet do that? There's kind of two critical elements to it. So we can help manage a plan in a sort of more joined up, engaging way. So we take any plan, or we develop any plan by putting information into the platform in three ways: outcome, what you want to achieve; action, how you're going to do that; and an indicator, how you're going to track the progress of that. And you can then use that to link an action to multiple outcomes. So you can see how an action is contributing to more than one outcome. We're just adding in now that you can show a negative link, so you can show an action that's having a negative impact on certain outcomes and a positive one on other outcomes. And that mind map isn't just the picture, it's also a data structure. So if you want, when you come onto generating reports, you can generate a report by that mind map view as well. So we've got the mind map view. We can geolocate everything, and we can look at it on a map, so we can see all of those actions on a map if that's useful. We can get them in the table view, which is a list of those actions and those indicators, which is much easier for kind of managing a plan. You can find your actions in management, and then all of the information in there then goes directly into a report as well, and you can filter that report in any way. So that's in our view, a much more engaging and interactive and way of managing a single plan. Where it becomes kind of more transformational is that we can connect plans together. So we analyze plans, find where are the common outcomes across multiple plans within a local government, and set those as shared outcomes. And you can then put those shared outcomes back into all of the plans, and you can see what is all of the activity in our transport plan, our climate strategy, our local economic development strategy, what are all of those actions that maybe are contributing to active travel, for example, or our health and wellbeing strategy? So you can actually begin to see how all of your plans link together and actually manage them from there. So we're working with probably 10 local governments now using OnePlanet. They're using it to in that way of kind of aligning and their strategies and their plans. Some of them are reporting on their climate strategies through OnePlanet, so they're monitoring and reporting. They're using it to amplify their impact. So you can share these shared outcomes with anyone who has a OnePlanet account. We have a free account for community groups. So in Horsham, for example, they're then using this as a way of collaborating with all of the community groups. So the community groups can show how they are, or show and see how they are contributing to the climate action within Horsham. You can see co-benefits. So one of the features I haven't really shown is you can change the lens. You can change how you view the information. So you can use that to easily see the health or the equity benefits of climate action. You can show a climate action plan to a health professional through the lens of health, and they can see all the health benefits of climate action. And then, as sort of alluded to, there's reports can easily be generated automatically, which we all know we're swamped with reporting, so it can really help on that. Just to sort of introduce briefly the Unite for Climate Action campaign. So we started in the run up to COP last year, where we got 50 young leaders to systems map local government climate action strategies. So this is my disclaimer, Elena. This strategy I'm showing you for Edinburgh was mapped by a young leader who had a quick training in the use of OnePlanet. And we used that to create this database of UK local government climate action. So we can look at the 60 plans we've mapped so far to see what action is being taken. And then the young leaders have developed off the back of that a climate action manifesto. So showing what they think local government should be aiming to achieve. What are the outcomes they want local government to be achieving, and what are the actions that we've seen can be taken to achieve that? And actually, just worth mentioning, in the run up to the general election, we're going to be taking all the party manifestos and mapping those against the young leaders manifesto to see which ones are aligned with that vision that the young leaders have, where they're aligned and where they're not aligned. I'm going to pause there and go into the platform itself. I'll just see if there are any questions at that point. None will be taken as being no questions, but any question would save me from having to carry on speaking. So, but hi Chloe, nice to see you.
And you too. I've obviously got my plan for my business, and I used it, we can use it lots of different ways, can't we? But it's been a great tool.
Yep, thank you. And yeah, well, I might pick on you later then. So this is what was mapped out as the Edinburgh climate strategy. So can you all see my screen again? Thank you. So this is what a climate strategy may look like once you've mapped it out. So what we did was take the Edinburgh climate strategy, go through that, identifying what are we see as the outcomes, the actions, and the indicators. And one of the sort of critical part of this is it's kind of the first time that people see their plans aligned with other strategies, but also internally, the first time people see plans that have been aligned. I was just trying to find the actions. At the top, there was a section on priorities. Here we go. So, for example, we went through these priorities, taking these as the outcomes, as we saw. This is what we think Edinburgh wants to achieve. So we mapped out those outcomes. We then looked at all of the actions. So around, let's filter this a little bit. We can focus on just water, for example, and we can see these were the actions that Edinburgh had on reducing flood risk reduction, so delivering sustainable rainwater design guidance for the city plan. So that was how we sort of mapped out a specific plan, just to give a little bit more of the functionality of OnePlanet. When you open an action, you can allocate an action to an individual. So if a local government's using this across all of their organization, you can allocate that to someone. They'll get a notification that the action's been allocated to them. You can set a completion date and status, and then to manage the action, you can provide guidance, but also then you can put on the progress of that, whether that's the progress update or a written progress update. Indicators, you can put in graphs and you can link to Power BI, and then stories, you can upload stories, and that's much more about driving ongoing communication. You can post those to social media, to your website, as a way of kind of building engagement with climate action. So that's I've lost my mouse for a second. That's the basics. So I'll show all of that. So the lens function that I mentioned, this was using the OnePlanet Living framework. So we took all the Edinburgh Climate Action Strategy and mapped it against the 10 OnePlanet Living principles. We also looked, we developed a lens for COP28, the kind of categories that were being used there, and we can look at that same information through a different lens. So using their lens, we can see what are the actions that relate to health. There'll be lots that relate probably to multi-level action and urbanisation. What we found was that when we look at gender equality, was an issue for COP, none of the climate strategies really have anything on gender equality. So using the lens functionality, you can kind of look at a plan. This is how you could look at it through a health lens or through an equity lens. You're able to get a different view of a plan. Table view looks very similar. I'm going to go back to OnePlanet Living. You get a list of all of your actions. You can then manage them in the same way as you could in the mind map view. You can bookmark them so that it's easier to find just your bookmarked actions, and then all of that goes into a report. I think we had an example. Yeah, maybe it's that down here. So you've got for under zero carbon, you've got all of the outcomes, and these are the actions, and you can see how here is a progress update has been posted on this action. If you wanted to generate a report for just last year, then you would not have the progress update from 2022. So you can filter the report in that way. You can get rid of whichever elements of it that you're not interested in, and then you can actually change to the report to be more on the mind map structure. So you can switch to having it set up by the outcomes. So you have each outcome and the actions taken to address that outcome. So that is how we've mapped a single plan. Does anyone have any questions there? Thank you, Judy. You've given me a chance to drink some tea.
I saw that. I hoped you were gonna finish the tea. It's important to have the tea. Yeah, no, you're possibly about to come on to this. Firstly, thank you for the overview and then sort of diving into some of the detail. I was wondering, and like I said, I'm sure it's fully where we're going with this, but I will need to leave soonish. But around how much support you provide to people to use this, or is it kind of people get logins and off they go? Or did you say that you've done this for Edinburgh? Is your sort of hope that maybe one day people would do it, or maybe people already are doing it themselves? Just kind of interested in that sort of the use of it and how you kind of get people to that. I mean, it seems fairly intuitive. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so this was mapped by a we can find out. I think it was, so each young leader has who mapped it has written their name here. So it was mapped by Sawal and Seb. So they had a 1 hour training, but essentially, and then mapped this. When we're working with local governments, we do so with Westminster, we're aligning all of their environmental strategies, waste, active transport, air quality, climate. We take all of those plans and upload them to kind of get everything set up, and then we do a training with the council officers who are going to be using it, so that they can use it, and they're using it also around embedding carbon mitigation in all council decisions. So every time there's a project going for a decision, they use this to create a plan saying how we're going to mitigate carbon emissions, and that's then linked to their their goals. So it's intuitive. We set people up and we give you training. So then just to go on to how you link plans together. So this is a single plan. We then went through, right here, I'm jumping ahead. We then went through kind of all of the local government plans and identified what are the kind of most common goals that are coming into the that we're seeing in these plans. We put those in what's called the ecosystem plan. So we're going to look at ecosystem nature recovery as a key shared outcome. So we can see that this shared outcome is actually in 62 plans. So all of these plans have action around delivering that shared outcome, and we can then jump in and see what is everyone doing around ecosystem nature recovery. Now, because this is in so many plans, this is a bit overwhelming, but we can hide all of those plans, and then we're focusing on Scotland, so we can look at, we have mapped 3 plans in Scotland. What are the what are those what do those climate action plans say about nature recovery specifically? So the Dundee City Council action plan didn't have any specific information on nature ecosystem nature recovery. The City of Edinburgh has a fair number of actions related to that, and I think Glasgow has a similar amount. So from this perspective, we can look at, okay, what is everyone, what are Edinburgh and Glasgow doing around ecosystem nature recovery here, and we can get an overview there. In other areas, this is for Scotland. In the southeast of the UK, we have more organisations, more plans mapped out. We can open up all of those and actually have a picture of what is everyone doing there around nature recovery. And we've used this starting to have kind of dialogue between neighbouring councils. Okay, you're doing this, we're doing this, how can we start joining that up? If there's two tiers of government, we can see this is what's happening at district level, this is what's happening at a county level, and can we join that up? I'm going to go back in to look at just Scotland, because that's what we're here for. So that's the Scotland plan. The other aspect we can do is we have mapped out some of the UK's national policies, and we've used that as kind of another way of connecting these connecting plans together. So this is essentially this is how we connect plans together. Judy, thank you for joining, and we'll send you some slides afterwards and follow up. Let's see if you've got any more questions. But in this case, we've mapped out the Scottish biodiversity strategy, and we've linked it to the City of Edinburgh Council plan. So, for example, Edinburgh can come in here. They can see what they're doing, they can also see sort of what is required of them in the Scottish plan. And so from there, you know, you can add in guidance, and it's a way of them being able to see, what am I doing that delivers on this national plan, and is there more I should be doing? Can I learn from what the national policy says? So it's just another way that we're kind of connecting together different strategies. Again, I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions there. There's no specific questions. I might slightly pick on people. Elena, I'm just wondering, sort of as a working in Edinburgh, do you find how do you find the mapping we've done of the Edinburgh plan? Does it look a useful way of being able to look at a strategy compared to, you know, a different way of looking at a strategy compared to a PDF document?
Yeah, it's interesting, especially linking in. I don't know whether you've ever attempted linking in different initiatives as opposed to local authorities, because that's sort of what I touch on. I'm not sitting, as I said, I'm not sitting within the policy team, so not looking at like general carbon emissions council-wide, but more in procurement. So yeah, my role is to sometimes link in with different initiatives and charities in different parts of council. So yeah, it would be interesting to see where it's not just the councils that we can potentially multiply our efforts on, but also more sort of place-based approach to different organizations working on the same goals.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. Thank you. And it's, I mean, useful to mention. So I can't remember now who was more working on nature, but so in England, every county council has to develop a local nature recovery strategy, and what we've been doing with a number of those organizations is using OnePlanet to map out what's happening at the what work the districts, the counties are doing, but actually also to map out what are all the wildlife trusts doing, what are all the community groups doing, what are neighborhoods doing, and linking all of that together. That enables people to see sort of where there's better opportunity for collaboration, much more clearly where gaps are, and it's kind of also a way of driving community engagement, because yeah, a lot of times people, whether it's in climate or whether it's in nature recovery, feel quite isolated in their attempts to deliver climate, you know, make an impact in these areas by themselves. But if they can see they're part of a wider network, and they can see, you know, the positive stories that other people are taking, that can be really really inspiring.
Thank you.
Mark, so yeah, who was it who worked in nature recovery? Was that Jade?
So I wouldn't say I particularly work in nature recovery, but being the only person for the town council dealing with climate, I kind of look over all those aspects. So, I mean, our nature recovery, whatever's included in our CAP or our climate strategy, is based on Hampshire County Council's nature recovery that they've put forward their strategy. Yeah. So yeah, just incorporating all of that into our CAP, our strategy, as well as our goals going forward up until 2029. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, we're just seeing what, and let me.
I will say, I know based on discussions with South Downs yesterday, and their goal to map councils across the South Downs using this particular tool. I think it'll be very interesting once they have completed that, and using it as a collaboration effort going forward, and seeing where the linkages are, where the targets are, where the gaps are. I think it'll be a very interesting tool.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, in that area, we know that there's all council budgets are kind of under pressure, and they've
Yes.
got funding to develop a strategy, but then there isn't funding to kind of implement the strategy. But by developing it in this way, and then enabling the community partners, the other organizations to kind of input their information, then they get a view of what's happening over time as well.
Yes, definitely.
So I mean, one of the other areas that we've been using the platform is to align strategies internally. So to be able to see, Elena, thank you for joining. We'll send information afterwards. So you can take a climate strategy, health and well-being strategy, a transport strategy, and see what are they all doing to address improving the health of the residents. And that's often the first time that a local government's actually seen all of their plans linked and connected together. So there's kind of a variety of different ways that you can use the platform to engage with your strategies and to align them. Any more questions? So I'm wondering whether Sheena, Abby, or Elena and Jade. So those you working for local governments, I mean, do you mapping your climate strategy in this way, do you think that would enable you to see how it aligns with other activity in the council more effectively, and enable more sort of collaboration across the community? Do you think it would help, Sheena? Yeah. Thank you.
Hi there. Yeah, yes, I think so. And I know we spoke a few months back, and you gave us a demo, and you've actually there's a bit more information today, so I can see how it would work. Yes.
Thanks a lot. And Fiona, I don't know, you're in the Highlands, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for joining, Chloe, and I'll see you again. Yeah, so I don't know.
Not sure this fits with my work, but I think the theory behind it is certainly of interest to parts of, or other parts in our service. I don't know what they currently use. I've been frantically searching policies and strategies on our website, not finding anything that aligns exactly, but I like the spider effect, and I like the responsibility allocation as well. I think that makes people accountable for not just talking it, but doing it as well, so how that fits in with their delivery plan, or yeah. I probably won't go anywhere with this, but in my head I can see where it could sit. So if I come across people that may need to highlight it to, I certainly will.
Yeah, no problem. We're happy to sort of give it that demo to other people in the in different areas.
Yeah, just seeing that map and things. Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of trying to think how we could tie that in with our planning application, where we've got a biodiversity net gain responsibility, because the NPF4, how that could tie in with, your map in there, and also things like developer contributions for biodiversity as well. But maybe I'm thinking too much coming together all at once. I'm not sure.
I mean, I would definitely say no, because I mean the you know, with the way we've approached this from the fact that, you know, climate, biodiversity, health, we can't, and you know, one of the
Can't
key
monetize
messages that
them
we can't address them one at a time. We need to address them
all
together. The young leader manifesto, which I mentioned, is something that came out that really strongly, that sort of the younger generation see is
Yeah.
that the climate justice, and that we can't address climate change without focusing on equity and having a more equitable society. So, you know, that the aim of the platform is you can take all of those goals and look, how do we make sure our strategies align to do that? And then to pick up on Abby's point there, you know, how can the community get involved in that? So I'll send a link afterwards to, we've done some work with Transition Towns Worthing, so they mapped out kind of all the initiatives an individual can take within their region, and that's linked to the district council's climate strategy. So an individual can go in and see, okay, this is what the council is doing, but this is what I'm doing, this is what I can do, and go into that map and start exploring what they can do. So yeah, I mean, Abby, it's yeah, definitely a good way of getting that link between the council and the community going. Brilliant. I didn't have more to show. I mean, I'm happy to show other elements of the platform, but I'm also wary that if I do that, it's kind of, I end up showing lots of whizzing circles that can be a bit overwhelming for people. But I mean, would you? I can show a little bit more about the South Downs, which is more the nature recovery work, or how the platform's being used to embed. Jade, you were talking about procurement. We've developed a tool to help Haringey and Merton embed carbon mitigation in their procurement processes. Happy to show people that if they think it would be useful.
Yes, please.
Right, give me a second.
I think I'll step out if that's okay.
Yep, no, that's no
I really
problem.
enjoyed what you've shown us, but yeah, shown me as well.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem.
thanks for your time. Good luck.
Ooh. Alan's joining. Hi, Alan.
Hi. I'm having problems with my camera since yesterday.
No problem. We've kind of given an overview that we had, and we're diving into a little bit more detail. So yeah, sort of apologies if it's not exactly what you were expecting at this stage.
Apologies for myself for my tardiness. I had a lot later on to run, so
no problem. So this is just looking at how we're working with Merton Council to help embed carbon mitigation into all decisions. So they have a process whereby when there's a new when there's a project that's going to the council for decision, ideally as early in the process as possible, they create a new plan called procurement 1, and this then takes them through a number of kind of simple steps of like what can you do to mitigate the carbon impact of procurement. So the problem they were facing was that, firstly, a lot of people would look at their project and say, my project doesn't have any impact on carbon, when in most cases that wasn't correct. And then when asked, okay, well, it is going to have an impact, what can you do, they were often unsure how to address that. So just loading that again. So the way this works is, having created your new plan, you get sent to this form. It starts with having information on Merton's net zero outcomes, what they're aiming to achieve. And then there's 3 sections on mitigating carbon, adapting climate adaptation, and then summarising. And there's just a set of questions. So how will your operations and services linked to the procurement proposal aim to minimise energy consumption? Most people kind of look at that and they're not sure. So there's some guidance here which is adapted to the context, and then some further case studies as well, so linking to kind of national policies or you know, more detailed guidance. And then the person responding adds in their answer here that we will ensure all appliances are A star. For example, and save that. And then they go down to the next question. Have you specified that all buildings should be efficiently built, operate, and managed? And again, there's guidance and there's case studies that they can use to help answer those questions. Same sort of similar set of questions around climate adaptation, around water, addressing flood risk, and then it comes to the end and there's a summary section. So we've got information here, what should be included in the summary section. That's the piece that goes to council. And then they take that section and that goes in the report to council. And the goal is that although they're writing this as a report, in procurement, there's kind of multiple stages. This is, although it's a report, it's actually, you know, a plan on our system. So that plan is linked to the council's goals, so they can see what what each project is doing to contribute to the council's climate goals, but also they can update these actions as they go from setting the procurement tender to selecting an organisation to the contract. So it's not just a tool at the beginning of the procurement process, it goes through the process. Haringey in London, they're doing something similar. They've got 4 templates for different projects and a set of questions that they use to begin with to filter out which actions might be relevant, and they can get rid of those actions from the template. So Jade, I don't know if that's just as a brief overview, but I don't know if that's something you feel will be helpful in embedding carbon mitigation in your procurement processes.
It definitely would. It definitely would, because I mean, when I first took on the role, I created our sustainable procurement and greener working policy. And at the moment, we're kind of looking at how going forward in procurement, we kind of set targets and how we monitor those and also track progress going through it. So I think that would be a really useful tool. Just out of curiosity, if I wanted, let's say, if I got council on board with it, to have this kind of system for all of our procurement going forward, how does that work with OnePlanet? Is it creating an account with you? Do we get access to those templates? How does that all work?
So yeah, we would set up the account for you and agree what elements you want in the template. We've got obviously guidance and case studies from the information that's already there. We would provide that with you to you, and then you would need to sort of build on that with your own information, particularly to try and make it local. And then we provide kind of, because they're all similar but slightly different, we provide some kind of video guidance and guidance for council staff and training as well. And yeah, each person involved needs to create an account. You can create an account directly from your Microsoft account, so the single sign-on with Microsoft. So if you've got a Microsoft
Okay.
account, you can create a OnePlanet account straight away, as long as that. Some local governments have disabled that for security reasons, but yeah, we're sort of trying to make that process as streamlined as possible, and time with other processes as well. So where there's like carbon literacy training happening, which a lot of councils are doing, layering that in with the carbon literacy training as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. Alan, you joining. You joined a little bit late. Do you have any specific questions?
No, just I've worked with dashboards back in uni last decade, and it makes it a lot easier to understand, I think. So I know I'll go along with what's going on. So yeah, apologies.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, no. If you've got any specific questions, so happy to pick them up.
Thank you.
Abby, Sheena, was there anything specifically you would like to see that we've mentioned beyond the community, where it's being used for community engagement, or have you had a good enough overview for now? I think Abby is typing.
I think that's enough just now. But yeah, it's good to see how you can link the national strategies and see where you are, which I didn't remember us going over that the last time, so that was really good to get that information.
Yeah, I mean, there's a continuation of, I guess, the functionality development, but also the more plans that we map out in terms of national policies, but other climate plans, they're in the system and kind of available to any other user, which is another benefit of this approach. So where we have co-located councils using it, we're able to map out strategies that are relevant to all of the councils, and it just kind of builds up the speed with which they can get value from the platform. Abby is typing, but I don't know if it's to us or but unless there are any other specific questions, we will I mean, for us, the next steps are if you're interested and want to get a more info on the platform, do go in and create an account. We will send you a follow-up email, showing you how you can access all of the where all of the plans are and how you can access that information. I will ask Alina, who's left. I mean, we'd be really thrilled if people mapped out their own plans and added them to the database. If that's something that would be of interest, let us know, or where your plan is already mapped out, if you'd like to see people if you could update on the platform, that would be really interesting. We've got free training. We'll send you some information on that. And as I mentioned, we're in this run up to the election, we're going to be mapping out the manifestos in as apolitical way as possible. But just as a way of showing, okay, this is what the parties say they're going to achieve. How is that aligned with the Young Leader manifesto that the 50 young people we engaged with during COP28 think with think the direction of the country should be. Just having a look at Abby's question. Try and analyze more efficiently. I mean, do you recommend especially engage with outside people using it? So we're working with an organization called Impact on Urban Health, who are using the platform to engage with kind of marginalized communities around health and climate issues. I mean, there's still on the ground engagement in terms of workshops, but then all of that information is being captured on OnePlanet as a way of enabling them to see what is happening in the area. So yeah, and that's a funded initiative. At the other end, I mean, there is a free there's a community program. People can use the platform for free. I can send you a bit more information on that, and you know, maybe that would provide enough functionality for you. I'm happy to have a follow-up conversation on that when you're somewhere where it's easier to speak. Brilliant. Well, if there's no more questions, we will send you the link to the recording if you're interested, the slides and some follow-up information, and we will take things from there.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.